Welcome into WagerTalk TV. I am Drew Martin, joined by Dave Koken and Ralph Michaels from WagerTalk.com. We're talking Sunday night football on this video. We got the Minnesota Vikings at the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, this one on NBC Sunday nighter here. 57.5 being the total here, Dave. And we got the Seahawks laying 7 at home. You interested in getting involved here?
Well, I'll tell you a little funny story. I'm pretty sure that I am responsible for Bill O'Brien losing his job with the Houston Texans. What happened is I almost never do 5% plays in the NFL. I'll do them in college, but I hadn't had a 5% play in the NFL since January of 2019. And I had one this past Sunday. It was on the Vikings, plus the points. They got the outright win at Houston. And word got back to the ownership for the Texans that I had a 5% going against them. And they found out and said, Jesus Christ, if that asshole knows enough to go against us, we got to switch coaches. And so there you go. O'Brien is out, and the Vikings are no longer winless as they head to Seattle. This isn't as good a matchup for them. Houston was a very good matchup for them because the Texans can't stop the run, and the Vikings love to run the football. And the more they can run the football, the better it is, because it doesn't put the pressure on Cousins to make big plays, which he can't do. Cousins is a good complementary quarterback. When other things are working, he can be very effective. If he has to be the one that gets the ball rolling, it's not going to work out too well. Cook will not have the same success as he had against the Texans. So I think you're probably going to have more on Cousins' shoulders here. But coming off a win, that's a plus for the Vikings, and they're getting enough points here to make it a little bit difficult to take Seattle. I've got this one power rated about at the price. I don't really like the situation that much for the Vikings. I don't think it's as good a matchup as it was last week, obviously. And Seattle's on a roll, so I don't want to get in their way. But I think you're having to pay a little bit of a premium here if you want to bet the Seahawks.
NFL GMs listening to Dave Koken firing coaches around the country here. Ralph, coming to you, the Sunday nighter, Minnesota, Seattle. What are you thinking, buddy?
I saw the press conference. They didn't call him an asshole. It was a lot worse, but we can't say it. So, first let's talk about the total. I mean, you say, wow, a 57.5, 58 total. So, I tweeted this out last night when I was looking, about this game. Since 1989, so in 32 years of the NFL, we have had 22 totals of 57.5 or higher. Those totals have gone 15, 6, and 1, 71.4% to the over. And, anytime you get to a stage that's high or low, the odds makers can't catch up quick enough. I always say this, well, if you're the number one team, you really may be like 8 spots better, but there's no place to go than 1. 1 and then 2, so you're this much better than 2. When you start looking at new highs on totals because of the way they're not calling holding penalties and they are calling pass interference penalties, then all of a sudden, the NFL is going to adjust slow. So while these totals seem very high, if you think there's value in the over, don't be afraid to play them because historically they have been fine. I have played against Seattle in a teaser 3 weeks ago, cashed with New England. I played Dallas in a teaser 2 weeks ago, I cashed. I played Miami in a teaser last week and cashed. You have a Seattle defense that's allowing 27 first downs per game. They're allowing 401 yards per game passing. Not 400 total yards, 400 yards per game passing. They're allowing 477 yards per game. They've got outgained in 3 of their 4 games. The only game they had a first down edge was against Miami, where they had 26 first downs. Can this team come back and keep scoring? I think they can. I think they could shorten the field again. I think Minnesota was probably the best 0-3 team. Now they're 1-3. You take the crowd out of it, which would concern me with Cousins at quarterback. That is no longer an issue. I am never betting Seattle as a favorite with that Civ defense. So if I'm going to look at anything, and, Minnesota's on my long list, I don't know if they'll get there or not, but clearly it's fade Seattle as a favorite or pass for me for the next few weeks until I see some improvement in that defense.
But I'll just chime in, going back to the total. Look, the way, and Ralph, you just explained it, the holding penalties are not being called this year. The PIs are prevalent. And that's had a lot to do with the fact that almost any game can go over. I mean, if you get an under these days, it's almost a miracle. You need Brian Hoyer playing quarterback to have a chance at an under, I guess. This looks like it's going to be a shootout. I mean, I don't think Minnesota's defense is terrible. They barely held on to beat the Texans last week. Houston got down to the goal line at the end of the game and was going to have a chance to tie. And the Minnesota offense is pretty good. Same thing here. Seattle's offense with Russell Wilson. He's an MVP candidate right now. Their defense isn't very good. I can easily see this being a crazy 34-30 type of game.
I have no problems. I have no problems with the total either. I can't argue with that. And here's the question. And when you have one unit that's so bad with Seattle, some people may say, "Oh, well, look, Minnesota wants to run the ball. Seattle's run defense is incredible. They're only allowing 76 yards per game and 3.4 yards per carry." Or you could say, why bother running the ball and go through all that trouble? You just throw the ball against Seattle's defense because they're civ-like. So, it's one of those funny things in the NFL when you're looking at offense and defensive numbers and you have one unit that's so bad that the offense has to look good because no one's even doing that against them.
That's the worry for me, though, is that if Minnesota has that mindset that, look, we're probably not going to be able to spring Cook for big carries here. He can't be the focal point of the offense. And they make Cousins the focal point of the offense. I worry about him throwing the ball to the wrong team. He's just not a big game guy. And this is a big game on Sunday night.
More of the game manager type. And we also got the Vikings, 2 straight road games. And also to note, Seattle laying 7 here. I think both of you guys kind of touched on it. That back door might be open. So for Ralph Michaels, Dave Koken, I am Drew Martin. Make sure to check out WagerTalk, sportsmemo.com. Guys, we got the new one-day all-access pass. Get every play, handicapper of your choice, under $40.